You have been avoiding the truth that brought you here. You know it, you feel it, and you have tried to outrun it, yet it keeps finding you in the quiet moments. You cannot keep living on autopilot and expect your life to rise. This is the wake-up call you can no longer ignore. You need to reset, restart, and refocus because nothing changes until you take responsibility for the way you think and the way you move. This message matters because discipline is the foundation of every breakthrough. Belief is the engine behind every victory, and personal responsibility is the bridge between the life you have and the life you want. This is not about hype. This is about building a mind strong enough to carry the future you keep imagining. Picture the moment you wake up. The room is dim. Your phone is already buzzing. Your mind is already heavy. You stare at the ceiling for a few seconds, knowing you are about to repeat another day that feels exactly like the last. You tell yourself you need a fresh start. You tell yourself you will change tomorrow. You tell yourself you will get serious when you feel ready. Yet the same doubts, the same habits, and the same excuses follow you like a shadow. This video is the breakthrough you have been postponing. It is not entertainment. It is a reset button for your mindset. It is clarity for the days you feel lost, direction for the moments you are drifting, and guidance for the times you forget the strength you carry. If you listen with intention, you will walk away with a sharper focus, a stronger belief, and a deeper sense of responsibility for your own destiny. Today is the day you stop drifting and start directing your life with purpose. Reset your mind and reclaim your power. You cannot rise while holding on to the thoughts that keep you limited. You cannot step into a stronger life with a mind that has forgotten its own authority. This is the moment you confront the truth that your thinking has been quietly steering your life in the wrong direction, and you have allowed it for far too long. You heard in the introduction that drifting is no longer an option, and this is where the real shift begins. Resetting your mind is a declaration of personal leadership. It is the moment you stop letting noise, fear, and old habits direct your future. Your mind is the birthplace of every decision, every opportunity, and every breakthrough. When it is cluttered, your life becomes reactive. When it is clear, your life becomes intentional. Discipline grows from this clarity. Belief grows from this clarity. Responsibility grows from the decision to guide your thoughts instead of surrendering to them. Resetting your mind is not simply a fresh start. It is a return to your natural strength, a strength that becomes visible only when you silence distractions and create space for focus. Picture yourself waking up before sunrise. The room is still, the air is cool, and for a brief moment everything feels possible. Then the noise begins. Notifications light up your phone. Doubts whisper in your head. You replay yesterday's mistakes. You remind yourself of unfinished tasks and unfulfilled promises. You feel the frustration of knowing you should be further along. As the weight settles in, you fall into the same pattern. You reach for your phone. You scroll without thinking. You let the world pull your attention before you have even claimed the first thought of the day. You are not lacking strength. You are lacking a reset that clears the mental fog and opens the door to disciplined action. The lesson is simple. A scattered mind cannot build a powerful life. When you choose to reset your mind, you step out of the mental clutter that has kept you overwhelmed. You begin to see the difference between noise and truth, between fear and direction, between distraction and purpose. You start to think with the clarity of someone who understands that every thought plants a seed in their future. Resetting your mind means choosing thoughts that strengthen you. It means letting go of the ones that drain you. It means taking responsibility for the inner conversation that shapes your confidence and your identity. As you reclaim this inner power, you will feel a shift not only in your thoughts, but in the way you carry yourself. You stand straighter. You move slower and more intentionally. You trust your decisions because they are no longer made from chaos. You protect your attention because you know it creates your direction. You begin to sense that your life is changing from the inside out, not through luck, but through clarity and commitment. A reset is not an escape. It is an awakening. It is the choice to stop living by default and start living by design. It is the moment you realize that your mind is not a battlefield unless you allow it to be. With each intentional thought, you strengthen the discipline that will build your future. With each quiet moment of awareness, you sharpen the belief that pulls you forward. With each step into clarity, you reclaim ownership of the life you are meant to build. Now that your mind is sharper and your focus is returning, you are ready to face the internal noise that has been fighting against you for years. Your next step is to break the cycle of mental noise so you can rise with full force. Break the cycle of mental noise. You cannot build a focused life while your mind is filled with constant noise. You cannot rise with confidence when every thought is pulled in a different direction. This is the moment you stop letting chaos dominate your inner world and start reclaiming the attention that shapes your destiny. Your reset has begun, and now you must clear the mental storm that has been pulling you away from your purpose. The cycle of mental noise is subtle at first. It starts with scattered thoughts, small distractions, and quiet doubts. Then it grows into routines that keep you on autopilot. You move, but you do not advance. You work, but you do not progress. You feel busy, yet your life feels unchanged. Breaking this cycle demands discipline. It demands responsibility for what you allow to influence your mind. When you take command of your thoughts, you take command of your life. You stop accepting confusion as normal. You stop allowing distractions to dilute your focus. You stop letting noise convince you that your potential is out of reach. True strength begins with a quiet mind that listens to intention instead of impulse. Imagine yourself standing in your kitchen before the day starts. The refrigerator hums softly. Your coffee sits untouched on the counter. You stare at your phone, scrolling through notifications, trying to silence the pressure you feel inside. Your mind is already racing with unfinished tasks, unanswered messages, and expectations that never seem to stop. You glance at the clock and wonder why you feel exhausted before the day has even begun. You are not tired from effort. You are tired from noise. Your mind has been reacting to the world instead of directing it. This is the experience millions live every day without realizing the source of their frustration. The lesson is clear. A reactive mind will always feel overwhelmed. To break the cycle, you must confront the noise instead of surrendering to it. You must remove the habits that keep your mind scattered. You must close the door on distractions that steal your attention. You must stop entertaining thoughts that question your ability to rise. This is not a gentle shift. It is a firm decision to protect your mental environment with the same seriousness that you protect your goals. When you silence what drains you, you create space for what strengthens you. You begin to think with purpose. You begin to act with intention. You begin to feel the clarity that comes from living with awareness instead of drifting through your days. As your mind becomes quieter, new possibilities come into view. You start noticing solutions that were hidden by noise. You begin to trust your decisions because they come from clarity, not confusion. You feel your confidence grow because your thoughts are no longer fighting against you. You develop a new level of awareness that helps you understand what deserves your energy and what must be removed. This awareness is the first sign that you are stepping into a stronger version of yourself. Breaking the cycle is the beginning of mental freedom. It is the moment you choose to create direction instead of waiting for life to provide it. It is the choice to rise above distractions and build a mind that supports your purpose every day. Once the noise fades, your inner strength becomes impossible to ignore. With your mind clearing and your focus sharpening, you are ready to release the weight that has been holding you back for far too long. The next step is to let go of past failures so you can move forward with power. Release the weight of past failures. You cannot rise while dragging the memory of every mistake behind you. You cannot build a stronger future while allowing old failures to sit in the front seat of your mind. This is your call to stop carrying what was never meant to follow you into the next chapter of your life. You have broken the noise around you, and now you must break the weight within you. Releasing past failure is an act of courage. It is the moment you stop letting old chapters define a story that is still being written. Failure is not a verdict. Failure is a lesson. Yet too many people treat it like a sentence they can never escape. They replay the same moment again and again until the memory becomes heavier than the mistake itself. Discipline begins when you stop empowering the echoes of your past. Belief grows when you understand that failure is evidence of effort, not evidence of weakness. Responsibility becomes real when you decide that your identity will not be shaped by the moments you regret, but by the actions you choose next. You rise the moment you say enough and release what no longer serves your future. Picture yourself sitting alone late at night. The room is dim, the house is quiet. You open your laptop or stare at your phone, not to move forward, but to distract yourself from the thoughts you have been avoiding. You think about the opportunity you missed, the project you abandoned, the relationship you damaged, the decision you made that still embarrasses you. You feel a tightness in your chest and a familiar disappointment in your stomach. You tell yourself you should be past this by now, yet the memory returns every time life pushes you to grow. What you feel is not the failure. What you feel is the meaning you attach to it. You decided it defined you, so it began to control you. The lesson is undeniable. Your past cannot hurt you unless you choose to relive it. To release failure, you must face it with honesty instead of fear. You must stop pretending it did not happen and instead strip it of the power you once gave it. You must replace shame with understanding. You must replace doubt with clarity. You must replace hesitation with action. This is not about forgetting. It is about reframing. Every failure showed you a blind spot. Every mistake revealed a weakness you can now strengthen. Every setback taught you something success never could. When you see failure as preparation, you free yourself from the emotional weight that has been slowing your progress. As you release this weight, you will feel your confidence rise in ways that surprise you. Your decisions become sharper because they are no longer clouded by fear. Your ideas become bolder because you no longer expect the worst. Your belief becomes deeper because you understand that nothing in your past has the authority to name your future. You start to move like someone who trusts their own potential again. You begin to think like someone who knows growth always comes with risk. You begin to walk with the strength of a person who is done letting the past steal their progress. Releasing failure is not a soft shift. It is a personal revolution. It is the decision to stop shrinking. It is the decision to stop apologizing for who you used to be. It is the decision to become someone stronger, someone clearer, someone ready to rise. Now that you have freed yourself from the weight of yesterday, you are ready for the next step. It is time to build clarity and strengthen the discipline that will carry you forward. Build clarity and strengthen discipline. You cannot live with power while your mind is clouded. You cannot create real progress while discipline fades the moment life becomes uncomfortable. This is the point where you stop accepting confusion as normal and begin shaping your future with precision and intent. You have released the weight of your past, and now you must build the clarity that allows discipline to take root. Clarity is the anchor of a strong life. Without it, your energy scatters, your decisions weaken, your focus disappears. Most people do not fail because they lack ability. They fail because they are pulled into 1,000 directions that do not matter. Discipline cannot grow in a mind that is overwhelmed. Strength cannot develop in a mind that is distracted. Clarity is the commitment to remove what does not belong so you can focus on what does. It is the internal order that creates external progress. When you gain clarity, you stop chasing every impulse. You stop confusing movement with progress. You stop letting your mind drift into patterns that drain your future. Discipline begins the moment you know exactly what deserves your effort and what must be cut away. Imagine yourself sitting at your desk in the middle of the afternoon. Papers are scattered. Notifications keep lighting up your phone. Tabs are open on your laptop that you are not using. You tell yourself you are working, but deep down you feel stuck. You jump from task to task without finishing anything. Every small distraction pulls you off track. Every interruption drains your momentum. At the end of the day, you feel exhausted, yet nothing meaningful is completed. You are not lacking talent. You are lacking clarity. Your mind has become cluttered with thoughts, distractions, and priorities that fight against each other. That clutter steals the discipline that should be moving you forward. The lesson is unmistakable. Discipline becomes natural when clarity becomes your standard. To build clarity, you must simplify your inner world. You must decide what matters and remove what does not. You must stop allowing noise to shape your decisions. You must silence the thoughts that scatter your attention. Clarity demands responsibility. It demands honest reflection. It demands the willingness to admit where your time is being wasted and where your focus is being stolen. Once clarity is established, discipline emerges as a byproduct rather than a struggle. You begin to act with consistency because your mind is not fighting itself. You begin to follow through because your path is no longer confusing. You begin to strengthen your habits because your actions finally align with your priorities. As clarity grows, discipline becomes the engine that carries you forward. You start to do the work even when you do not feel ready. You stay focused even when distractions tempt you. You commit to your goals even when progress feels slow. You begin to move with the calm intensity of someone who knows exactly where they are going. You develop the mental toughness required to stay consistent. You recognize the difference between what feels good in the moment and what builds the life you want. Discipline becomes your ally instead of your burden. Clarity and discipline together transform you. They create confidence. They create momentum. They create the structure that turns ambition into achievement. When you live with clarity, you stop guessing. When you live with discipline, you stop stopping. When you combine them, you become someone almost impossible to shake. Now that you have built clarity and strengthened discipline, you are ready for the next level of alignment. It is time to realign your goals with your true desire so your direction becomes unbreakable. Realign your goals with true desire. You cannot build a meaningful life while chasing goals that do not belong to you. You cannot stay disciplined when your direction is fueled by pressure instead of purpose. This is the moment you confront what you truly want and stop pretending that temporary emotions can carry you toward long-term success. You have built clarity and discipline, and now you must align those strengths with the goals that actually match your deepest desires. Realignment is the process of stripping away every goal that was chosen for the wrong reason. Some goals come from comparison, some come from ego, some come from the desire to impress others. These goals may look impressive, but they collapse the moment your emotions shift. True desire, however, stays steady even when you feel tired, uncertain, or frustrated. When your goals are aligned with true desire, discipline becomes easier because the work feels meaningful. Belief becomes stronger because you know the direction is yours. Responsibility becomes natural because the purpose behind your actions is real. Realignment demands honesty. It requires you to ask yourself whether you are chasing a dream you truly want or one you feel obligated to pursue. When you realign, your energy lifts, your vision sharpens, and your life begins to feel like it finally fits. Picture yourself sitting alone in your car after a long day. The sun is setting. The air feels heavy. You stare at the steering wheel and wonder why you are exhausted, even though you checked off everything on your list. You should feel proud, but instead you feel drained. Something inside you feels off. You realize you have been working on goals designed to impress others rather than fulfill yourself. You feel the weight of expectations that never belong to you. You recognize that the stress comes not from effort, but from misalignment. In that quiet moment, you understand that no amount of discipline can fix a goal that does not match your truth. The lesson is direct. A goal that does not come from your heart will never create lasting commitment. To realign, you must remove the noise around your dreams. You must release the goals built from pressure. You must stop chasing what looks good and start pursuing what feels right. Realignment is not about downsizing your ambition. It is about making your ambition honest. It is about building a future that reflects who you are becoming, not who you were pressured to be. When you realign, you gain a sense of direction that cuts through hesitation. You stop second-guessing your choices. You stop apologizing for what you want. You start walking with intention because your goals finally match your identity. As your goals realign, something powerful happens inside you. Your motivation stops rising and falling with your emotions. Your discipline becomes stable because it is rooted in conviction. Your confidence grows because you are no longer forcing yourself toward a life that feels wrong. You become more decisive. You become more courageous. You become more consistent because you are no longer battling your own desires. Every step feels more natural. Every decision feels clearer. Every action feels connected to a purpose that strengthens you. Realignment transforms your journey. It turns scattered effort into focused progress. It turns hesitation into commitment. It turns dreams into direction. When your goals match your true desire, your life stops pulling against itself. Now that your goals are aligned with the truth inside you, you are ready to protect your progress. The next step is to take ownership of your time and energy so nothing can pull you off your path. Take ownership of your time and energy. You cannot rise while your time is controlled by everything except your purpose. You cannot reach your potential when your energy is spent on people, habits, and distractions that do nothing to move your life forward. This is the moment you reclaim authority over the hours and strength that shape your destiny. You have aligned your goals with your true desire, and now you must protect that direction with full ownership of your time and energy. Ownership is the foundation of every meaningful transformation. Without it, your schedule becomes a reflection of other people's priorities. Your focus becomes vulnerable to interruptions. Your energy becomes a resource that anyone can drain. When you take ownership, you stop allowing life to choose for you. You stop accepting responsibilities that weaken your purpose. You stop giving your attention to anything that does not strengthen your future. Ownership demands discipline. It demands honesty. It demands the willingness to say no when your old self would have said yes out of guilt, fear, or habit. When you own your time, you stop drifting. When you own your energy, you stop breaking down. When you own your direction, your life begins to rise. Picture yourself at the end of a long workday. Your phone keeps buzzing. Messages ask for your help with things that do not align with your goals. You feel pressure to respond even though you are mentally drained. You open your calendar and realize that most of your time this week was spent on tasks that do not move you closer to the life you want. You feel frustrated, not because you failed, but because you never had the space to succeed. You gave your energy to everything except your own growth. You let distractions write your schedule. You let guilt make your choices. You let other people shape your direction. The exhaustion you feel is not from effort. It is from lack of ownership. The lesson is undeniable. A life you do not own will never become the life you want. To take ownership, you must redefine what deserves your attention. You must create boundaries that protect your mind from unnecessary chaos. You must prioritize the actions that build your future and eliminate the ones that drain your progress. Taking ownership is not selfish. It is essential. It is the act of valuing your purpose enough to guard the time and energy required to pursue it. When you begin protecting your focus, you feel lighter. When you begin choosing your actions intentionally, you feel stronger. When you begin saying no to distractions, you feel more in control of your identity. As ownership strengthens within you, something powerful begins to shift. You wake up with direction instead of confusion. You make choices that align with your goals instead of your moods. You feel clarity where you once felt pressure. You recognize the difference between what builds you and what breaks you. You begin creating space for rest, concentration, and deep work. You become more protective of your environment because you understand it shapes your performance. Every moment starts to carry more meaning because it is no longer wasted. Your confidence grows as your days become purposeful. Your discipline deepens as your schedule reflects your priorities. Your belief solidifies because your actions finally support your future instead of sabotaging it. Ownership is the turning point between drifting and leading. It separates those who hope from those who build. When you take ownership of your time and energy, you step into a level of control that many people never experience. You become a deliberate creator of your life rather than a passive participant in it. You rise with intention instead of reacting to every interruption. You move with clarity instead of confusion. You grow with consistency instead of chaos. Now that you have reclaimed your time and energy, you are ready to protect your purpose even further. The next step is to remove what weakens you so you can rise without resistance. Remove what weakens your purpose. You cannot rise while holding on to the habits that drain your strength. You cannot claim a powerful future while staying surrounded by people, environments, and thoughts that keep pulling you back. This is the moment you choose to protect your purpose with the seriousness it deserves. You have taken ownership of your time and energy, and now you must clear the forces that quietly weaken your direction. Removing what weakens you is a test of honesty. It requires you to confront the patterns you have ignored, the relationships you have outgrown, and the thoughts that have been sabotaging your confidence for years. Most people remain stuck not because they lack potential, but because they stay attached to what keeps them small. Weak habits appear harmless at first. 5 minutes wasted here, 10 minutes lost there. A small excuse, a little procrastination, a quick distraction that slowly becomes routine. These moments accumulate until they form barriers stronger than any outside challenge. When you remove these patterns, you reclaim the mental space needed for discipline to thrive. You reclaim the emotional strength needed for belief to grow. You reclaim the inner power needed to honor your purpose without compromise. Picture yourself on a quiet evening at home. The house is still. The day is ending. You know you should be working on the goals that matter, yet you reach for your phone. You scroll until the minutes disappear. You click through videos you do not care about. You fill your mind with noise because it feels easier than facing the truth. You are not avoiding the work. You are avoiding the person you could become if you stopped running from your potential. Then a familiar heaviness settles in. A small voice inside whispers that you are capable of more, yet your habits do not reflect it. You feel the tension of wanting a better life while living in routines that weaken you. This is the moment that reveals the truth. The problem is not your ambition. The problem is the weight you refuse to release. The lesson is sharp. You cannot rise while holding on to what keeps you grounded. To remove what weakens you, you must take responsibility for your environment. You must step away from people who drain your energy with negativity and doubt. You must distance yourself from conversations that lower your standards. You must let go of routines that steal your time and weaken your discipline. This is not cruelty. It is clarity. It is the understanding that your purpose cannot survive in spaces that poison your mindset. It is the realization that your growth requires distance from anything that does not reflect the person you are becoming. When you release what weakens you, you create room for strength to expand. As you remove these weights, your life begins to shift. Your mind feels lighter because it is no longer cluttered with useless thoughts. Your energy grows stronger because it is no longer spent on people who do not support your vision. Your discipline becomes steadier because you have removed the temptations that once pulled you off course. You start to recognize your own power again. You begin to see how much progress becomes possible when the internal and external obstacles are cleared. You feel a new confidence rise because nothing is secretly draining you anymore. Removing what weakens you is not the end of your transformation. It is the preparation for the next elevation. Once the unnecessary weight is gone, you can finally build on solid ground. You can move faster. You can think clearer. You can rise higher. You can become the version of yourself you once doubted. Now that the weak parts have been stripped away, you are ready to rebuild the belief that will carry you to the next level. It is time to restore your self-belief and ignite the inner fire that will drive your future. Restore your self-belief and inner fire. You cannot rise without believing in your own strength. You cannot rebuild your life when your mind keeps telling you that you are not enough. This is the moment you reclaim the inner fire that life tried to dim and remind yourself of the power you have forgotten. You have removed what weakens you, and now you must restore the belief that will drive every step of your comeback. Self-belief is not a gentle feeling. It is a force. It is the decision to trust your potential even when your circumstances whisper otherwise. It is the internal conviction that your future is always bigger than your past. When belief fades, discipline becomes difficult. When belief weakens, direction becomes unclear. When belief collapses, the fire inside you dims until you no longer recognize the person staring back at you. Restoring belief means refusing to let old wounds define you. It means choosing to rise even when doubt tries to pull you back. It means taking full responsibility for your identity and shaping it with intention instead of fear. Your inner fire grows when you decide that you are worthy of the life you want to build. Imagine yourself standing in front of the bathroom mirror late at night. The lights are low. You are tired. You look at your own reflection and feel the weight of every disappointment pressing against your chest. You think about the mistakes you made, the goals you abandoned, the dreams you delayed. You wonder why your confidence feels thin. You ask yourself how you lost the fire you once carried so easily. In that quiet moment, you realize something important. Your belief did not disappear. It was buried under doubt, comparison, and the pressure to be perfect. It was smothered by the noise you allowed into your mind. The fire is still there. It is waiting for you to stop doubting your own capability. The lesson is powerful. You rise the moment you believe you can. To restore belief, you must separate your identity from your struggles. You must understand that setbacks are not signals of weakness. They are signs of growth. Every challenge you survived taught you resilience. Every failure pushed you toward wisdom. Every difficult moment shaped a strength inside you that comfort could never provide. You rebuild belief by acknowledging the battles you have already won. You rebuild belief by recognizing the discipline you are developing. You rebuild belief by speaking to yourself with the same conviction you offer others. When you talk to yourself with strength, your actions begin to follow. When you remind yourself of your progress, your confidence returns. When you claim your future with certainty, your inner fire ignites. As belief returns, you feel a shift inside your mind. Your posture changes. Your thoughts become sharper. Your focus becomes stronger. You begin to trust your choices because they come from conviction rather than fear. You feel a renewed hunger to grow. You feel a deeper desire to move forward. You begin to act like someone who knows their life is not defined by setbacks, but shaped by the courage to rise again. That fire inside you becomes more than motivation. It becomes identity. It becomes the steady force that guides you through challenges and keeps you moving toward the life you are committed to building. Restoring belief is your turning point. It is the moment you decide that doubt will no longer lead your decisions. It is the moment you remember that you have everything you need to rise. It is the moment your inner fire returns with a strength that cannot be shaken. Now that your belief is alive again, you are ready to bring that fire into the world. The next step is to re-enter life with intensity and unshakable focus. Re-enter life with intensity and unshakable focus. The truth is simple. Your life will only rise when you decide to rise. Your future will only strengthen when you choose to bring strength to every thought, every action, and every moment that lies ahead. Throughout this journey, you have reset your mind and reclaimed your power. You broke the cycle of mental noise that once kept you drifting. You released the weight of past failures and let go of the identity that held you back. You built clarity and strengthened your discipline until your decisions began to reflect your true potential. You realigned your goals with desire instead of emotion. You took ownership of your time and energy so your life could finally move in the direction you were meant to follow. You removed what weakened your purpose and allowed your environment to support your growth. And you restored your self-belief until the fire inside you began to burn with a force that nothing could dim. Every step has brought you closer to the version of yourself that you always knew existed. Every lesson has reminded you that your future is shaped by responsibility, intention, and belief. Now you stand at the edge of a new beginning. This is where your strength becomes action. This is where your clarity becomes direction. This is where your discipline becomes transformation. You are no longer the person who used to hesitate. You are no longer the person who allowed doubt to speak louder than purpose. You are no longer drifting through days that look the same. You are building a life that reflects your focus, your courage, and your commitment. Re-entering life with intensity does not mean rushing. It means moving with conviction. It means showing up with intention. It means giving your future the seriousness it deserves. You are ready for this step. You have earned it. Every struggle, every lesson, every moment of growth has prepared you for the life you are about to create. Before you move forward, take one deep breath and recognize the strength within you. You are capable of more than you once believed. You are stronger than your past. You are wiser because of every challenge you have overcome. You carry a resilience that cannot be taught. You carry a purpose that cannot be taken. You carry a mindset that has been sharpened through clarity and discipline. Let this final moment remind you that you are ready for everything your future requires. There is nothing missing. There is nothing lacking. The path ahead belongs to you. Thank you for being here and for watching this video to the very end. It means something. It shows that you are not someone who quits halfway. You are someone who finishes. You are someone who grows. You are someone who chooses to rise. I appreciate you more than you know, and I am grateful that you allowed this message to be a part of your journey. If this video supported your growth, I invite you to subscribe to the channel so you can continue strengthening your mindset and building the discipline that shapes a powerful life. And if you feel inspired to support the channel through Super Thank, your kindness is always appreciated, but never expected. What matters most is that you continue rising with purpose. Now step forward with intensity. Step forward with focus. Step forward with the certainty that your life begins again the moment you choose to claim it.